And just a friendly reminder from your engineer on no slurping on air.
What did he say?
No slurping on air. You just slurped when you drink.
Guess what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for the Roy and Jimmy Show.
I'm Roy.
I'm Jimmy.
And tonight you have a show.
Wait, our pizza's getting cold.
Kudos to you, Jimmy.
Kudos to you, Roy.
Nom, 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 nom.
Just kidding. It's the Jeff Sargent Show. We love our pals, Roy and Jimmy, and everybody else here at Kaotic Radio. It's the Jeff Sargent Show with my co-host, Jakey.
Good dog. Good morning. Good morning.
Producer Dan behind the glass with the hands-free control.
Happy Craig
morning.
Good morning.
Take it morning,
hump
Dan.
day.
Oh, there you go.
Hump Day. Happy Craig T. Nelson birthday day to you as well.
Oh, it's Craig T. Nelson's birthday.
And also the day in...
I liked him in everything but Coach. Was he in Coach?
He wasn't Coach.
I liked all the movies he did and stuff, except I didn't like to watch the Coach.
He's the watch the Coach, Grandma?
No, that's something I'll never binge watch or even go through one episode.
No way.
Who's that dumb blonde guy that played Moon in that Stephen King TV movie?
M-O-O-N, that spells Tom. He's also,
yeah.
but he's the guy he's from Fontana.
No shit.
And more importantly, he's Patrick the Starfish on SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, I got kudos to him.
Love.
Mucho respect for that
How
guy.
could you run that guy down when you moron?
Oh, I didn't know he was Patrick. He's stupid, but he's golden. He's great. Yeah, we got Patrick Starfish. He's pretty damn cool.
He's from
yeah, it's just
Fontana.
like you can't have a SpongeBob without a Patrick. You can't have a Laurel without a Hardy. You can't have an Abbott without a Costello. You can't have a Jeff without a Janky.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Hi, Dan.
On this day,
Honorable mention for Dan.
it's also Robert Downey Jr.'s birthday, and on this day in history, Wild Ed Big Daddy Roth passed in 2001.
Oh, that's right. I used to love his Odd Rod stickers and stuff.
Bulging eyes.
The
and
bulging
veiny,
eye, Radfink. He was the original Radfink guy.
He was. In fact, you can see the huge influence on stuff like Ren and Stimpy of the Big Daddy Roth era.
Yeah, he was a big time artist of all the freaky cool stuff, man, from the 60s, man.
Remember in the 90s, all these people trying to rip off Ren and Stimpy were actually ripping off Big Daddy Roth.
Yep. And today we have a special guest coming in.
Hot Chick Friday on a Wednesday.
Hot Chick Friday on a Wednesday. We've got the lovely Caroline DeGrave, which is, she's in traffic and she'll be here.
But she will be coming in soon. And very nice.
And while we're waiting, we'll just plug let's plug our sponsors and our good friends that make this show possible.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Steve Joyner, for all the guests that you bring in here and your hard work.
Yes.
And I want to shout out to Robert Hale, who's very
Robert
loyal
Lee,
he's such a good dude and he supports the show.
Robert Lee Hale. I mean, we love this dude. He's been on twice. Unfortunately, the second time you had him on, I was on an audition or something. Couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But I just, anybody who does all that for animals, you got to respect.
Yeah, and he supports the show, and he'll comment on and go, hey, thumbs up,
But
awesome.
I love him for supporting the show, but I also love what he does for animals.
Yes, he's just a great guy.
Great dude. Joiner too.
We're glad to be friends, and to everybody else that just makes all this come together.
Oh yeah.
Yes, all our millions and millions of friends. So, hey Dan, hey, thanks for being our producer.
Oh shucks.
Hey,
This is
everybody wave to Dan behind the glass. Hey, you two in the audience.
Dan's toasting us with a nice cool glass of O'Doul's.
A nice cold glass of O'Doul's.
Yum.
Too early for that. I'm having a
Too
decaf
early for
coffee.
O'Doul's.
Decaf coffee. What the hell's wrong with you?
Decaf, yes.
It's got all the power of coffee except the
Yeah.
delicious, delicious taste. The amazing caffeine.
All the unnecessary vitamins your body doesn't need.
You can wash it down with some powdered French vanilla.
Just like Frankenberry, Blueberry,
If
Count
we're-
Chocula, and Fruit Brew.
If we're going to climb out of a bunker and toast the human race with our carrot coffee, if we have French vanilla powdered, I'm just going to let the mutants eat me.
Come on, mutants. You heard it. That's plenty eating for you.
Come on, you mutants. I'll be like the Big Lots meal. You know?
Yes. Hey, Daniel, would you like to have some powdered milk on your monster cereals this morning?
No.
No, he
Nobody
doesn't.
would.
He doesn't want no powdered milk.
You know what? Don't get me started.
Okay.
Ooh.
Don't tell me this happened at home.
No.
Rhonda didn't give you powdered milk on your Count Chocula, did she? Rhonda.
One, I don't eat cereal.
Oh, only
Blasphemer.
yeah, did when we started the show.
You would line
I
up
will
for
a little
Frank
bit.
and Barry with the
It
rest
was
of us.
Halloween,
Oh, yeah.
and no milk. We didn't add powdered sugar to our cereal.
Almond milk.
We're
Pink almond
We're
milk.
eating our
It's-
Captain Crunch with almond
I
milk.
prefer
We're staying
soy
healthy.
milk, but I like almond milk.
I remember one of we had again 5 kids in my family. The head of a recession. One of my aunts brought over powdered milk because when my father and her were little, you know what I mean. And there was no milk. They would make powdered milk, and then she was trying to sell me on how great powdered milk is. It's like, yeah.
That's like I used to work. My dad used to own a vending machine business, and there was this little place, just like a little techno place, where guys would put together parts, and I would fill the vending machine.
With
The
your
guy
tiny
came up and
hands.
goes, "You got any cookies?" I go, "No, we didn't have any because rats were eating them." I go, so I stopped putting them in.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Rats
right
crawl.
there. I see the cookies. I need a pack of cookies. I go, those are saltine crackers. He goes, not for us. We so poor growing up. My mama spread butter on it and some sugar. Those were our cookies.
Oh
Like that sounds horrible.
Oh, I must have felt bad. Those aren't crackers, them are cookies. We just butter them up and sprinkle that sugar lations on there.
no! But I remember that powdered milk. It was like, Aunt Sophie, this is terrible.
I remember back in high school, my friend's mom, we're bringing our guitars in there, we're jamming and stuff. Oh, would you guys like some milk and cookies? Yeah. Oh, thanks, Mom. And he drinks it and spits it out and he goes, Mother, how dare you give us rock person's powdered milk?
Oh, right.
Like, how embarrassing.
Oh, man. When I was a cashier, they used to call that Mother's Day when the checks would go out and you'd have guys winning the car for these women to come cash the checks.
Yeah.
It's like, good.
What'd you eat for breakfast, Dan?
I just had a piece of toast.
I didn't eat breakfast yet. But you know what? I'm kind of hungry for something like a New York bagel. A New York bagel?
Get a rope.
Did you say New York bagel?
Yeah. What makes a New York bagel a New York bagel?
Jeff was so poor growing up that he would butter his hands and pretend it was an everything bagel.
Oh, but I don't have to. I'll just go to the corner of Foothill and Archibald, and I'll go see my friend Jamal in the New York Bagel Company.
Not if Daniel Rupp and I get there first. Yum.
And get what? The everything bagel?
Well, once you have New York water, you can have an everything bagel or a blueberry bagel.
I love my blueberry bagels made with authentic water
I
from
love-
New York. That's what makes a New York bagel.
I love standing in front of the full-sized recreation of Times Square and pretending I'm in an old Marvel comic.
That is great. I love that. Go there, people. A proud sponsor of the Jeff Sargent Show.
Woohoo! We love you,
Yeah.
Jamal. Thank you. And speaking of which,
Yeah.
Gosh, I would like to have a good cigar, a glass of wine, and watch the sun slowly set on the International House of Pancakes.
As a train goes by.
As the train goes by, as the band who's playing live music in the patio on the weekends.
As several elderly people clutch their hearts thinking it's the big one.
Yes. Well, that would be Pacific Wine Merchant and Cigar Exchange, right?
Num, num, num. It sure would.
Yes, with our friendly owner, Mark Heffernan. I've been calling him Hefferman for about 3 years now, Dan, and Greg finally corrected me, called me a stupid dummy and said, say it right. And so I did. Thank you, Greg.
You are what my Uncle Philly would call a moron.
Okay, I called Greg, not because I don't want to insult him when I had him on my show. I called him Greg Gross. Not gross, but gosh.
Gross. Greg Gosh. Because it's just gross to pronounce your name,
Yeah,
dude.
I don't want to insult him, you know?
Boy, you imagine what elementary school must have been like with him. It's Greg.
You're so gross. You're so gross, Greg Gross.
I remember my friend Doug Ball, when I was in the 4th grade. My friend Doug Ball, who everyone called Doug Balls, he would pray every time his mom had a date, she would marry the guy as long as nobody called him Balls anymore. And God forbid, in the 4th grade, Todd Renard. I think it's pretty easy to guess what his nickname was in the playground. And I found out later, Amy Lappin, her name meant rabbit.
Wow. We had a guy named Mark Loud, and everybody would go, hey, Mark Loud, and yell in his ear. How loud are you today?
He hung himself in the 6th grade.
Oh, man. That guy had the names you had to go through in high school.
Doug Balls. That's all.
And then there was another guy named Doug Hard.
And put away what?
Did you dig real hard, Doug? And it's like, do you have a brother named Real? All through life, man.
I don't know where Doug Balls is today, but I assume he forced his mom to remarry anyone else.
And then they would come up to me, hey, you can join the army, you'll be sergeant. Like, that got old. That got old real fast.
Did they call you Gomer Pyle? I would have.
That's even worse, man.
I'm Soldier Pyle.
Soldier Pyle.
Just
Kind
got.
of sounds like your Jimmy Shaw impersonation.
See, Jimmy, I used to give Roy a high pitched
Seen him in the
voice.
same room. I don't know. I think Jim Neighbors passed. So
He
sorry,
did this
Jimmy.
year, by the way. This year.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
It's like Gomer Pyle was on. I read this. It was on during the Vietnam War. And I mean, who would watch this service comedy in the middle of the Vietnam War when people are coming back with their legs?
Well, you know who hated the war team, Hogan's Heroes, more than anybody was Rod Serling, because he was in the service too. you know?
Yeah.
And all the people, and he was in World War II, and it was a horrible thing for him to experience and see them making like jokes, you know, with Sergeant Schultz and the gang, and just making their
Well, the funny Nazis. What the hell was TV thinking? And and Hogan's Heroes is unwatchable. MeTV will run it, and you'll watch it for about 5 minutes, thinking, did they really do a concentration camp comedy? I mean, it's just, I get Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island is kind of genius because it's a microcosm. There's a millionaire, there's a scientist, there's a beautiful woman, there's a farm girl. It's a microcosm of humanity. You can make the same argument about Brady Bunch. By the way, I believe today is our pal Robbie Rist, cousin Oliver's birthday.
Hey, Robbie. Hey, cousin Oliver. He's got a podcast called The Spoon.
I would call him Dr. Z after the role in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yes. That's, yeah.
He'll turn to you and he'll go, they fired me without telling me 3 episodes in and there was a new Dr. Z.
Yeah. Show up on set and going like, oh, where's my...
I said, was it the typical child star thing, Rob? And he goes, what? You just weren't cute enough anymore?
Yeah. Jump that shark.
Jump the shark.
Jump, shark,
Brady
jump.
Bunch. What a great show, though. I grew up on the Brady Bunch.
I would watch reruns of Lost in Space, Batman, $6 Million Man. Everything was on Detroit TV.
Do you know it? Did you see anybody in school with a Hogan's Heroes lunchbox?
Never.
Neither did I.
Priceless.
Wow. But it was long gone by the time I came along, so your parents must not have cared.
I had HR Puffin Stuff one. I think there was one kid that had it. It was like one of the Tory brothers. There was Mark Tory who don't like this.
It was carved out of rock.
Correct.
Joe, doing that voice, I can totally see Jeff being the guy throwing rocks at the short bus.
They were all my friends.
What a POS you must have been.
Room 5. You got to be friends with Room 5. That's what it was in Arcadia School.
When did they eventually let you out of Room 5? Graduation day?
Oh, God.
Did you ever take a short bus to school?
Oh, no, but I saw it coming.
Jeff was the kid who'd call the teacher in to watch him poop.
Oh, God. It depends what if you lived here in San Gabriel Valley, you saw a lot of Room 5. And even I think we even had them in
We even had them in like an alien race.
I think we had them in Upland. Did we have them in Upland?
Upland? What's Upland?
Upland High? Did they have it? Or in the junior high?
Oh, you're making me sad.
What elementary school did you go to, Dan?
Altaloma.
Okay, what happened? What was their
No,
room?
no,
Was there
no,
room
no,
5?
change
Did they
the
have a
subject.
room 5?
Change the subject. It's depressing.
I don't know what the room 5
Thank
is.
you.
Okay,
Stop,
never
stop,
mind.
yeah.
Okay, we'll stop right there. It's like the 13th floor. You just don't go there.
13th
I've
floor.
never been. I don't know.
Oh, it's
Well,
getting hot
remember-
in here, man.
People usually don't talk about the 13th floor because it's bad luck. So they would literally, in like a lot of Detroit office buildings, it would go from 12 to 14. They just wouldn't have a 13th floor.
Now, what about? Or there was a 13th floor, and they just kept it empty.
They would just label it 14th. No, you're not going to build a floor. It would go 12 and then 14 because nobody wanted to be on the 13th floor.
But if you're on the 14th, you are on the 13th.
Yeah,
floor.
but they didn't tell
Why
you
not
that.
just have that floor level and use it for storage or because okay, what about when you're making a movie about the 13th floor and stuff like that?
Well, there's a 13th floor movie starring Michelle Green from LA Law. She played the cute, perky lesbian in LA Law. And there was one called The 13th Floor starring Gretchen Mol. That was the girl Ed, what's his name, from Fight Club made out with when Courtney Love was on the Stern Show and talking about how in love she and Ed, the guy from Fight Club, what's his name? Ed Norton.
Norton.
So she, when Kurt Cobain's widow was on the Stern Show, talking about how her and Eddie Norton were so in love, Norton opened his trailer, sat on the steps of his trailer at like 9 o'clock in the morning on the Fox backlot, making out with Gretchen Mol. So everyone would see him making out with Gretchen Mol while Courtney Love was on the Stern Show, telling how I love Eddie Norton and I were. I guess that was his way of sending a message.
Yes, that was. Yes, but how did they were doing scenes?
Holy cow, a vision of loveliness.
Oh
Wow.
my God!
Good Lord.
Let's stop talking about what we're talking about. Our guest is here,
Hold on, Your Highness. Hold on.
the beautiful Caroline.
You're on the air, baby.
Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you for waiting for me. Traffic did not accommodate me.
Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, I never hear that.
Oh, I know, ever.
I've heard every bad rendition
Yeah,
of that.
and I don't hear
possible.
"Oh Danny Boy" either.
Oh,
Right?
we sing it every morning when we come in. Oh, Danny boy.
Tales from the grave.
Yes, exactly. That's me.
Oh, wow. Tales from your last name is DeGrave, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually, well, I grew up with it being de Grave,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't think that was very pretty.
Wow. DeGrave is kind of cool, especially if you went through that 13 to 15-year-old goth phase.
Yes, I did go through
The
that.
black lipstick, it can't rain all the time. Suck,
I
suck,
wore
suck.
black eyeliner for lipstick for a while.
Wow. So you're kind of a Lydia Dietz.
My deets. Okay, well, for starters, I was born in France and I got to the States at 20 days old.
Wow.
I've been here since.
Really? I met Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice, but that'll work.
Right.
So you don't look French. You look...
I don't look French?
No.
What does French look
I
like?
just started a
Pretentious.
live video. Say hi. So those people who are just tuning
Keep
in.
the no, nobody wants
This
to
is
look at you. Keep
okay,
it.
I'm Jeff Sargent.
Gosh, you can look at a beautiful girl born in France, or you.
oh,
Joe Sargent. Yeah, we're going to take the camera off the beautiful blonde to put it on
Born
the...
in France.
To put it
the
on the
beautiful Caroline de Grey.
Yes.
Wow, there she is.
So give us your origin story. Are you French?
And guess what?
I am.
Robert Lee Hale's the first person to tune in.
Well, Robert Lee Hale lives on the beach, and every beautiful girl knows Robert Lee Hale, so
I don't know RobertLee Hale.
trust me, he's going to find a way to introduce himself.
Okay.
He'll be on your friends list.
He'll be on your friends list
by
for
the
the
end of
time
the
you leave the
show.
house.
Okay. All right, cool.
Wow.
You
So,
want to say hi to Steve.
Hi, Steve.
oh,
Hi, Steve. Hey,
No.
Dan, say hi to Steve.
Hey, Steve, what's up?
What's up, Steve?
Oh, wait. Why are you doing your Dutchy voice for Steve Joyner?
Hello, Steve.
Hello,
Don't.
Steve.
Hey,
Ew.
your buddy Rusty is on there. Say hi to Rusty, Dan.
Hey, Russ.
Okay.
It's like doing a TV show in an Italian neighborhood. Hey, Augie said hi to your cousin's mother's sister.
That's totally true.
Wow, look at all these hearts coming on.
Yeah, see, everyone's in love with Caroline de
We
Grey.
love hearts.
And she just got here. We love you, baby.
Right on. Well, I love you guys back.
Oh, shucks. You're about to do a Bollywood movie playing Medusa.
I am. I'm going to
What?
play Medusa. So I should be in India, Mumbai, somewhere in like late May or beginning of June. And it's with a production called SJ Communications. And
Steve Joyner?
right? yeah. No, I don't
SJ.
think so.
SJ.
I know, right? I don't
Steve
know.
has just opened his Bollywood studio.
Yeah. Samuel John is the producer's first two names, so that's what he named it.
Wow. Now, is this your first Bollywood movie, Caroline?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
My first time going overseas for a film. I've traveled around for the other films that I've done, but this is the one that's taken me abroad.
What'd you get your SAG card on, gorgeous?
Actually, I don't have SAG, and I've
What?
stayed away from it.
Really?
Yes, because it kind of pigeonholes you into doing smaller roles, and it's
God
like
forbid
kinda
you should
get-
make too much money.
Well, yeah, right? So my aim is to kind of just do whatever projects befit what I'm doing in my career.
You wouldn't be
and
able to go to Bollywood if you did. So
Bingo.
congratulations. Wow.
Bingo.
Wow. Very well done. Wow.
I can be savvy like that.
Oh. Well, talk to us. How did one audition for Medusa? Did you go like this?
Right? Yeah, I just had my hands on my head.
I
and-
saw the makeup, but then
Yeah.
what are they going to do with the hair? They're going to
Oh, that's just
CG
CGI.
hair?
That's just CGI.
But see, I
and
got
I'm
to
not
see
gonna
those
have real
snakes.
snakes on my head.
Oh.
Hey, you can turn us to stone anytime.
Okay, all right.
Now that you don't have a union, they will
No.
put snakes in your hair.
Oh no! There's still insurance.
Mr. Grove, here are your snakes.
Oh God.
They'll be held together with garbage bag ties and
Well,
they drop
if
them on
they're
your head.
gardener snakes, I'll be okay.
No. They'll be real snakes with garbage bag ties holding them together.
Right? No garbage bag ties, no zip ties, nothing.
Get her ready for the fire stunt.
But I think the Medusa that I'm playing is going to have wings.
Really?
Because there's two different versions in Greek mythology of Medusa. And the first is she lives in a cave and, doesn't have wings. And the one that I'm playing, I believe, is going to have wings. So I might be on a cord, being strung up on some pulley and being tossed around.
That will be cool. It'd be great to see Jeff East. Superboy saying hi.
Oh, hi, Superboy.
Superboy is hitting on you from the south of France.
Excuse me, young Clark Kent.
Young Clark
He's
Kent.
Superboy,
Yeah.
He's also in Pumpkinhead, and he was in a band. I didn't know Jeff had a band.
Yeah, I saw that post he did
I didn't know that.
yesterday.
Yeah, he's the lead in Pumpkinhead. He's the guy who kills Pumpkinhead the first time. The only good Pumpkinhead is the first one.
I was going to say, I don't think I've watched that since I was like half my size.
Scared the hell out of you, didn't
Yes, back then. Now I just kind of laugh at most of those horror flicks.
Yeah, and what's happening with your phone?
it? My alarm went off.
I tried to call your phone. Your phone is screwed up. I called you and you.
Yeah, my phone is in terrible condition, and so I can hear everybody perfectly. Nobody can hear me. So I'm going to T-Mobile and I'm going to throw it at them.
Yes, I hate T-Mobile. I'm with them right now, too.
I'm going to throw the phone in front of their shop like a mafia witness.
Oh my God, no. I used to be with T-Mobile, and then I decided I wanted to get a new phone, and another company offered me a phone with my service, so I said, okay.
Is it a better deal?
Yeah, I mean, well, the monthly is probably about the same, but I have much better service throughout, and I don't have as many drop calls and that kind of thing.
Off the air, Blondie, tell me who it is.
I don't know. I get paid for telling them?
Well, off the air, that's what unless your phone is from...
Disclaimer, if you get any more customers from this, I get some of that.
Unless your phone is from New York Bagel, we don't want to hear any of their sponsors.
No, I have no. I have Verizon.
Oh, okay. That's who okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Now, back to Medusa. We've seen Medusa portrayed in many movies.
Right.
Where she's just a total snake.
Yeah.
Are you going to be shooting bows and arrows?
We haven't decided what my weapon of choice would be. I don't know if I'm going to be carrying some kind of sword or a bow and arrow, or if I'm just going to have some kind of clawed hands. I was thinking that might be kind of cool because we can do whatever to Medusa. I mean, we can really make her our own in a way.
Will
just
you
take the idea of it and then maybe just characterize it a little bit more to how we want. So.
Will you be wearing some sort of garish dress or
I hope
tastefully
so.
nude?
Tastefully nude. That's cute.
Thank you. We'll need pictures.
I like the garish dress thing, personally, but I think I would rather have like lower body be scales.
Oh, you want the snake body?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
wow. That's kind of hot. Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool, but I don't know how it's going to work with wings. I might look like some kind of weird dragon, so I'm not thinking that I would have to figure out which way I want to go. I like the wings more than I do the snake body, so I'll go with that. And then if they decide to change their minds, that's not my fault. It's not my fault.
That's very cool. That's not my fault. She's already giving herself plausible denial.
Exactly. Yeah.
Will you sing?
Will I sing? I can sing badly. Yes, I do karaoke, but that's because they don't pay me.
Oh, so the Medusa won't be singing in the movie?
No, God, no. It's a scary character, so maybe.
So this is like Song of the Titans? Release the Kraken.
Yeah, well, she is a Gorgon. And she's got her two sisters, and actually...
Have you met your sisters yet?
Well, the two sisters are actually, I think they're going to be in the movie, because I think they're writing them in, but because we're all pretty close in our stature and age and facial expressions and features, I believe...
How tall are you, about 5'10"?
5'8".
Wow, very good.
I have little
And
inch
with heels,
on.
you could be...
Give it extra two.
I can be 6'5".
You could be 6 foot.
Wow, nice. That's a Gorgon I can admire.
But I might be playing all three.
Wow.
I might be playing
By
her
the way,
two and
that's
two
hot.
sisters. I know, that's kind of cool. So I'll be, like doing maybe like amber scales, green scales, gray scales.
Oh, that would be cool.
And kind of figuring it out.
And they would only need one life cast. Did you do a life cast for this yet?
Well, we did the audition for several characters actually because they were still playing our roles and kind of seeing who fit what, and then also who got involved in the project. So after a lot of tossing me around with different roles, I finally decided I wanted to be a villain, and that was my call.
By the way,
I wanted to be an antagonist.
Those aren't the eyes of a villain.
They can be.
Oh, wow.
No, but I mean, I think I can play either way. I have like the Rolodex of people in my head that I've been in my life that I've tried to be or pretended to be.
That's something I haven't. I used to have a Rolodex back in the 80s.
Yes.
Out of black wrinkle paint on it. It was huge. And I would spin that thing. I had everybody's number you could imagine.
Back in the day, we used to remember the numbers by our memory.
Oh no! Now it's.
I know my best friend's number when I was 10, but I don't know my best friend's number now.
You just hit like 3 buttons that lead your best friend's name and then punch in it. But I mean, that's where technology has probably made us more docile. But you're right. Yeah. I know, like, one of my dearest friends lives in Pasadena. All I have to do is dial the prefix, and his number comes up immediately.
Right, the prefix does, but I mean, I have so many people with the same prefix. Unless it's an out of town one, I'm gonna be lost.
Yeah, but you're in Palm Desert, so it's all.
So everything is 760, and almost 90% of the people on my phone are 760. So. I'm like, all right, this doesn't help me.
Now, when would you be shooting your Medusa movie?
Like I said, maybe late May, mid-June. We're waiting for our Bollywood star to finish the project that he's finishing up, and then for his agent to give us dates.
Wow.
So it's a possibility that I get into an associate producer role because they want me to help with kind of encouraging the agent to give us some kind of dates because it's pushing back some things, and it's like, okay, we're tired of waiting.
But playing 3 roles would be so cool.
I
You know
know,
what I mean?
right?
I mean, especially creature roles. You know?
Oh my God, yes. That's really why I wanted to play the creature, because I did have a few more cute roles, beauty roles, blah blah blah, and I'm like, that's never gonna stand out.
Well,
Not in the way that I
no,
wanted.
When people will remember when you're Medusa, you know, you're
And
exactly
I
right.
picked a good character, I think, because it was actually my call.
And she's a hot villainess, you know.
Well, I kind of went for that.
Very, very good.
I want to be memorable. Medusa is already a really known figure, and everyone remembers a villain.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because I'm going to be one of the main ones that that will attack our protagonist, and we don't know what happens to me.
Wow, interesting.
I don't know if I get killed, or maybe to just come back, or maybe I'm a shapeshifter, or maybe there's all sorts of endings for this character that could very well present itself in a future movie.
Interesting. Wow, you're ready for a franchise, baby.
Oh yeah. No, I'm already building my stronghold.
Wow. I mean, but no, is this the furthest you've ever gone in location?
Yes. This will be the furthest, and it's pretty far. I mean, Mumbai.
It's as far as
We're talking about, I think, what is a 12-hour difference in time? Wow. Yeah.
That'll be a blast. You know what I mean? I mean,
it's going to be so much fun.
I was so excited. When you go on location, I remember we shot something in Palm Springs, and it was like, oh boy, Palm Springs. And then I went out of state last year. Hey, Dan the Man.
Hi. Oh, thank you. Water's great.
Oh, meet Dan the Man. He's our sound and board up.
Hi.
The lovely
thank you.
Dan Rupp.
I didn't know if you noticed the glass right there in the booth, the engineer booth.
We call him the king of chihuahuas because
Yes.
there's bobblehead chihuahuas on each
I
side
was
of it.
wondering about the chihuahuas. Actually, I noticed that.
Dan's got a chihuahua
It's
fetish.
like Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Quiero Taco Bell.
It is that dog, I think.
That's what it looks like. I mean, off the top of my head, that's the only thing I can associate a chihuahua with.
And by the way, I got a friend in France who is interested in some roles for you. I'll hook you up with him.
D'accord, je pourrais faire un film avec vous si vous voulez.
Wow. Yes, he's shooting a French.
Did you hear that, Jeff? She was speaking French.
Oui, je parle français.
He's looking for a beautiful blonde for a French snuff film he's doing.
Oh, wonderful. Sign me up.
No need to tell your mom where you're going.
Wow.
What's the budget?
It's in francs.
He just wants to hear. He just wants to hear you scream.
What is the monetary coin in currency in
Francs?
Francs,
Euros in France? Euros.
What's compared to a dollar? How do you euro to a dollar?
I haven't checked recently, but I think it's $1.36 to buy a euro.
I
think.
QUI. What's that mean?
Mad.
QOI is quoi, which means what?
Qui.
No,
He's
that's
asking
not,
what?
Don't say qui. It doesn't sound right.
How about merde?
Euros. Jeff said euros. Jeff, what's the euro to the dollar?
Come on, someone.
We want to know.
He's in France, so Superboy can tell us.
Well, he might not know what a dollar is. There,
He's from here. Don't worry. He knows what his dollar is.
I'm like,
Sacre bleu.
I know, right? I'm like,
$1.24.
Booyah. We're
okay.
down 13
So I
cents.
lost value.
I could come up 25 cents real quick.
That's good. Yeah. When I lived in France for a while, I used to change my money back from dollars to francs, back and forth, so I could make money that way. I would just exchange them with the dollar when it was the higher got higher, and then I'd switch it back to francs when they got more per dollar.
Interesting.
You could get French braids there on a real good deal, can't you?
You can get a better deal here.
You get a better deal here in French braids?
Yes. Yeah, they're expensive there. You ever go to a salon in France?
No.
Okay. Oh.
How many countries have you been to? Have you traveled around?
I've traveled around. Mostly growing up was going to France, coming back to the U.S., going to France, coming back to the U.S. But I've been to Germany. I've been to England. I have been to, Canada and Mexico.
Oh, Canada.
Canada, eh?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, they have some beautiful sites out there.
They do.
Mexico is a lot of fun. Let's see.
Cancun.
Yeah, I haven't been to Cancun. I haven't been to that. I don't know why.
You need to go
I've
to
been
Cabo
Rosarito.
Wabo. Rosarito's
I've been
beautiful.
to San Felipe, that kind of thing. But I grew up going there on like little small vacays.
Wow, very
Yeah,
nice.
so I think I was actually conceived in Mexico in the back of a car.
Have there been movies made about that?
Her mother told her
Probably.
father, I am going back to France to have my baby.
Yeah, it's like, okay, she spent the gestation period in the U.S. and then had me in France and then made me a French citizen and then came back here 20 days later. I was like, my life would have been much easier just being born here. I'm still an alien.
Did it make you pretentious?
No.
Okay.
No, I felt out of place most of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, I had issues growing up. I was like, I'm
Well,
French. Why am I not someone called Stephanie or something? Why is my Caroline name so French?
Wow, interesting. And you can speak
And it
French.
sounds Southern, too.
Kind of, yeah. And I didn't like that either. I didn't want to be associated with being a Southern belle because I was a badass.
Southern Belle with Daisy Duke.
You are a badass.
Well, you look good on a horse. I see you riding in this movie called Cataract.
Cataract Gold was the
Tell
first.
us.
Yeah, that was the first movie I was cast in, and I was literally pissed off at my phone when I got cast for that role. I was at Starbucks after a hike, and I was disheveled and sweaty. It was in the middle of summer, and
Perfect for
honestly,
the audition
I know
process.
it might have just looked right. I had no makeup on, and my hair was about twice as long as it is now.
Wow.
And so that's basically what happened. There were auditions being taken place at the Starbucks there, and the director was not happy with who he was auditioning and was inside drinking coffee rather than watching the auditions.
Wow.
He had just said, okay, I'll screw this. I'm not going to watch any more of this. And he came up to me and was kind of like walking around and this periphery of around me. And I looked up from my phone finally, and I was like, what do you want? Like, what are you looking at? Because I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder because my Wi-Fi wasn't connecting, and I was pissed.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that's basically what happened. He gave me his card. I almost threw it out, but out of
Did you really?
courtesy,
Wow.
I did not throw it out in front of him. I was just going to wait till I turned the corner and, But as it happened, I stuck it in my purse, and then I got a hold of him like 3 hours later. And I was like, okay, after Yelping him, Googling him, and doing all that, and didn't find anything crazy, I called him back, and I'm like, what is this for? So he says, it's a Western. I haven't been doing anything really in about 20 years, but I want to get back into it. So this is the first this is the first film that I've got funding for, and I'm still missing a lead role, and I would like you to audition for it. So I went back to Starbucks, and I was given the role.
Wow. What was the director's name?
Paul Keener.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, so Paul Keener Productions, and then that's actually on DVD right now. You can get it on Amazon, just eBay or whatever. Just Cataract Gold movie.
That was your first movie?
See that? Oh, right here, Cataract Gold. Here's the poster.
Terrible name, by the way. Cataract
I know,
Gold.
right? I was like, where did you come up with that?
It's like an elderly
Because
Western.
there's something in my eye.
Right? Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, I get it because I myself had heard of Cataract Canyon. It's near the Green River in Utah, and I knew of it even prior to the title. But I was
that
like,
where you shot it?
I was, partly, we shot it here and also in Utah,
Wow.
and so that was a lot of fun. That was fun. We stayed at the KOA, and we
I love
barbecued.
KOA.
I know they're awesome.
Wow.
And, we barbecued every night and just had fun. We played games and all sorts of stuff. It was cool. Cards Against Humanity. That was fun. That was great.
Cards Against Humanity. So none of you have heard of video games.
Well, not out in the wilderness. No, we didn't have that much power to have all of us have game consoles.
Oh.
Besides, I mean, we had radios with us, and we had our guitars, and we'd like sing around the campfire. Your typical like campfire fun.
Wow.
That's
it was
kind of
actually-
charming, actually.
It was really neat. I had a lot of fun. We got to know each other because we weren't all stuck on our phones.
Wow. Which ironically is how you got the part, because there was
Right?
no Wi-Fi.
Right? Yeah, because I was mad, and I must have had the look he was looking for. I don't know. I don't even know what look that was because I was scowling at the little screen. So.
Like give Cat a gold. Interesting.
Yeah, and then from there, basically, I fell in love with the filmmaking process and acting and a lot of different aspects of film just through doing that. So I decided I wanted to do a little experimental short film. And the founder of the Idlewild Film Festival, Stephen Savage, had been working on a TV pilot with some of the cowboys that I was in Cataract Gold with.
Oh, yeah.
So I got a hold of him and I said, you have a small role for me, or is there something I can do for you, even off camera?
An actress should never say that to a director.
And
Hashtag.
I know, right? Hashtag never do that. However, I got a hold of him and he gave me a small role, but it was for the second or third episode, so we haven't even filmed that yet. But in the meantime, I asked him, how do I get more roles? Like, how do I build something from nothing, really? Because Cataract Gold hadn't been seen yet, it hadn't been distributed, so I was like, okay, I need something that's going to give me a little bit of a lift. So he said, make a movie. So I said, okay, how do I do that?
Oh, wow.
So I raised the funds myself, and I wrote contracts out to all my friends who gave me some money. And
Damn, you're a good businesswoman.
Yeah.
Was this Fraternity of Blood? Or
No, this is Real Smile. Wow. Real Smile is on YouTube, and I actually put it at the Idlewild Film Festival. It premiered last year, and I got a nomination for Best Student Film. And then later last summer at the One Reeler Film Competition, I was given a special mention award for it. Wow. And that kind of put me on the board to a lot of people who follow me. And I created a public page really early on because
That's a smart thing to do.
I wanted to build my foundation and my following. And also I wanted to kind of show people how to develop into the professional you want to be. Start from nothing, but don't rely on any one source to give you something or to rocket you into stardom. Like you've got to
created your own thing.
Yeah.
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 And using yourself on the poster is a smart move,
I'm savvy, and I'm a communications major with the emphasis on social media. So that's kind of my thing.
Interesting.
Now, I've been around horses all my life. I was telling you that yesterday, and you look so natural on the horse, and
yeah, I had been on a horse maybe twice in my life prior to
really, and you just got on there and cowgirl up.
I'm pretty naturally athletic, and I'm a little bit of a risk taker. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I can gallop. Yeah, I mean, I told the guy I could.
I saw you doing that yoga pose where you're standing on your hands, and you got your
I was holding my foot behind me and then reaching forward. Right. That's over at there's a helipad with a huge yin yang and graffiti all over it by the Palm Desert Cross.
Wow.
And it's a real popular hike, but when I started doing it, almost no one was on that hike, and I really loved it, and I called it my hill because it was mine. It was my mountain, and no one else was on it.
Yeah.
And it's gotten popular, and now there's little signs, don't go off the trail, erosion, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, this has become so commercial. It's driving me crazy.
Wow.
And so I was like, you know what? I never should have posted about this trail because no one would be here because, I'm convinced everyone follows me around.
That'll increase by 3 people after tonight.
Well, it's already an anthill, so at this point, there's nothing I can do to dissuade people.
Oh, there goes erosion.
I think my 2,000 Facebook friends are 2,000 out of 3,000 are following you right now.
Okay, well, all right, that's all right. I'm not there right now. As long as I'll do night hikes when no one's around and everyone's scared to go out.
Perfect.
Yeah. No, they think coyotes are going to come get me or something. I'm like, no. When they smell people, they stay away.
So, are you doing flat trails, or is there hills that you go up in?
Yeah, there's a little bit of an incline. It's not huge, but it's enough to give you an exercise daily. I mean, I do it all the time, and I still get exercise out of it. It's not like a nature walk or anything. We
have one local here called the Claremont 5-mile loop. And a lot of people drive from all around, and it's challenging. It goes up the hill, it goes up a couple hundred feet.
Okay. Or you can do Mount Baldy, and that's more of a challenge.
Oh, yeah. You're going to feel it when you're done.
No, I love that. That's the whole point. I don't want to hike and come back and feel like I can sprint.
Right. Yeah, if you do, you didn't hike.
Yeah, that's not hiking. No, it's like a little nature walk, or like you see little old couples holding hands together.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Okay,
You want more of a baton death march.
Well, I don't know about a death march, but I want to feel it, and I want to feel like I've worked out. Like I don't want to feel like I have to go work out after taking a hike.
The more rigorous the hike, the better the beer when you're done. You know what I mean? I mean, no, beer and pizza, man.
That would be kind of contrary to what I'm trying to get out of hiking, but...
Well, like my father and my parents lived in Tucson, and we used to hike telephone line, and it was like a 14-mile hike, and you leave at
14 miles? Oh, God.
And you leave at 5 in the morning, and then afterwards... you'd have a pitcher of beer and a pizza. That was kind of your reward.
The pizza sounds good. Usually after a hike, I am more hungry than anything.
Yeah.
I just want to sit down and have pizza or nachos and just sit in front of the TV and Netflix.
Just delicious.
Not an avocado and a tomato.
Yeah, I could put that on.
Slice on
top of on top of the pizza is great. I love avocado on pizza. It sounds good, actually.
I'm busting my ex-roommate's balls because he's a health nut and he goes hiking. He does the 5-mile loop.
Right.
And he goes breakfast and he puts a picture of an avocado and a tomato. Like, okay, you're not going to slice this up with make it look decent.
No. He's waiting for them to have sex and make his meal.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go, Kurt.
Yeah. So you put like the little dressing inside the hole of the avocado and you use a little spoon.
I do that. I use the Catalina dressing. I put it in the middle and sometimes I like it with grapefruit too.
With grapefruit?
With the Catalina.
Really?
Avocado, grapefruit, and the Catalina dressing.
That sounds pretty
good. It's
good.
really good. Try it.
That sounds actually really good, but it sounds good better on a salad. Like I get like butter lettuce and dice up some tomatoes. I get some cherry tomatoes and avocado. I'm kind of feeling that.
Oh, you got to throw in the kale. Like when did kale?
God.
I didn't even know what kale was till like 2 years ago.
Kale's delicious.
Kale's a trend.
It's delicious. You don't like kale?
It's a trend.
It'll die off. It's not
It's
gonna
like cool
work.
coleslaw, man. I love kale.
Yeah, I mean it's good coleslaw texture because it gives a little bit of crispness. No matter how much dressing you put on it, it will not wilt.
I love that. Yeah.
It's like, look, it's still fresh. It's 5 days old, but it's kale.
How come all the rabbits and the gophers don't eat the kale in the garden?
We don't have enough rabbits and gophers.
This is true.
The dirt's too hard out there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, they like soil that they can dig into. I used to be an environmental studies major. So
Wow. Where'd you go?
Where did I go? Well, it's Cal State San Bernardino, but
Woo! Fellow Coyote, baby.
Right, Coyote. And then I was at College of the Desert to get my couple associate's degrees. So I went from being a roadrunner to a coyote.
We shot. By the way, I love the Coyote. We shot American High School at College of the Desert.
Oh, really?
And it was the most arid environment. The school.
Oh, God, yeah.
It was like the stink rose. The college suddenly rises in this wrecked landscape. Mm-hmm. What I loved about Cal State San Bernardino is the horrible when you're sitting on level 3 or higher on Fowler Library.
Yeah.
Remember Fowler Library?
Yeah, totally.
I saw this long jagged scar go through campus, and they put flowers on each side of it.
Really?
It was the San Andreas Fault. It runs right through the middle of Cal State San Bernardino.
And that's why flowers can grow there. I mean, unless they're watering literally every 2 hours. But there's a lot of water along the fault line.
But it was like putting a hat on something very dangerous.
You're like, we're going to tell you exactly where this is.
Yeah. And I remember one of the professors would always run on the board without saying a thing after any big earthquake. Mm-hmm. He would go over to the board and write, "I don't give a damn where you were during the earthquake." And then he'd turn around kind of dramatically and he would turn around and he would go, "If it's the big one, you won't live long enough to brag to your friends," because it was San Andreas Fault, And I thought that was cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, I took a map interpretation class, and he was always going on and about the San Andreas, and we had to map it out. Literally had to go around campus, off campus, in our cars during class time.
Over to Kemp Palm and Kendall.
Oh my God. It was kind of a pain though. It's like you had to bring a buddy with you. We always had to sit there and haggle about who wanted to drive and who's going to give gas money.
Right.
And blah, 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 blah,
Man,
blah.
it's gas ain't free all the way up to Cajon Pass.
I mean, I already drove from Palm Desert to San Bernardino, and now they want me to drive around again.
I drove from Upland to the Palm Desert, or to the good old University Parkway.
Yeah.
But what was cool about that place, if you were meeting, like you had a study buddy and you were meeting in the morning.
It was fun to do. I mean, once we got off campus and we were able to do what we were doing, because we were like mapping different things that we had to find he had these little treasure hunts that he would have, and then we had to find these things according to latitude and longitude lines and degrees.
Wow.
And
that's kind of cool. It's like a Scooby-Doo mystery.
Oh my God, it was a pain in the butt.
But if you got on campus early enough, I do remember this. If you were on campus like 6 or 7 in the morning, mm-hmm. I was one of those guys who would just walk to class just staring straight ahead, and this one morning I kept hearing this like lowing. And I looked up in the hills. The hills all around the school were filled with these cute goats.
Goats?
The goats were grazing and making sounds. Oh, yeah. I mean, and it was just amazing,
I don't think I've ever seen a goat around there. I mean, I was only on the main campus for a couple of quarters because they're on the quarter system, not semester.
Yeah.
And then I went
But if you wanted to get done faster, they were the place to go.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
If you wanted to smoke weed, you went to Fullerton.
The fast track. That's what I'm doing. So
Exactly.
I ended up going back to the Palm Desert campus because they had communications as a major there, and I switched majors because I wanted to go into journalism, but about environmental studies because it was really something that I loved. However, in general, I like conveying information, and I like doing any kind of just talking about different aspects of life or cultures or whatever. So it kind of turned out that after switching my major, like it seemed like 15 times, I was like, what I really like to do is tell people about stuff. That's really what I love to do. So I'm somebody that decided to go into communications because then I'm not limited to what I'm talking about.
Well, that sounds a lot better than my completely useless English degree.
I know. I ended up with a liberal arts AA. I have a journalism AA.
Oh, I minored in journalism. That's completely useless.
Yeah, no. That just gave me a lot of things about ethics that I probably won't use in my career anyway.
It's like the joke about Newsweek and Time. Wait a minute. You mean there's a magazine that'll tell me everything that happened in the world last week?
Right? God.
Sign me up.
Wow, did Jimmy Olsen get a degree in journalism?
I always thought Jimmy Olsen had a degree, but I don't know.
You don't know what he majored
at least
in.
Peter Parker got a science degree. That's better than a journalism
I think
degree.
he was on his way.
Yes.
He was. I think in one of the first scenes he was in his chemistry class or something.
I don't know. Who pays more, the Daily Planet or the
I remember the Onion,
or the Daily Bugle?
I remember the Onion headline, which a thriving Daily Planet as a thriving metropolitan newspaper is now the most unrealistic part of Superman comics.
I know, right?
Yeah, is that terrible?
Yeah, I know. That's actually quite relatable.
It's going to be empty like the Herald Examiner building.
I love the Herald Examiner.
Like, we're going to film a rock video at the Daily Planet. It's all empty now.
Pretty soon, I don't think newspapers are going to be circulating a whole lot with the internet doing everything.
Yeah.
I have a friend who writes for a local paper, and they asked the city room. It's like him and one other woman and one other female reporter are all that's left of their city desk.
I know. I mean, I've visited newspaper buildings
yeah.
and where they print the Desert Sun, for example, and I've seen all the machines
San
and the
Bernardino
ink
Sun.
and everything. It's amazing how much work goes into it. But I was looking around and I was like, you mean that newspaper will really die? I mean, is that really something that's going to happen? Will print really go out of style?
Yeah. You know, as a guy,
I just feel bad. I mean,
as a guy who writes for several magazines in Barnes and Noble.
oh yeah.
I never thought the market would crash. And
Yeah.
most of the magazines
People love magazines. I love magazines.
I do too.
I like the heft and the smell, but most of the magazines I write for now are all out of England, where they still have a thriving mag market.
And they're like 85% ads.
Yes.
Like there's no stories anymore, or else the stories about the people that you see.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's nothing going on in the world besides who's doing who.
By the way, who's doing who is selling magazines, so I'm cool
I
with
know.
it.
As long as the ratings keep up and the sales are being generated.
Just
then,
run lots of shots of who's doing who on every other page,
right?
Yeah,
and then if you're the one being talked about, make sure that your life is interesting enough to keep making the front page, right?
But even that's moved on to reality TV.
It sucks.
I mean, reality
TV is only cheap to make. That's why they do it.
Yeah. But people are watching. You know what I mean? I mean,
scripted reality.
Yeah,
but you'll go to a SAG meeting, and in the parking lot, everybody's bitching about reality TV, and everyone's talking about what they're watching on reality TV, and it's like
it's dumb.
You're part of the problem,
right? If you watch it, they'll keep making it.
Yes, yeah. Except, by the way, there you go.
Right.
That's the problem with magazines.
If you stop watching it, then they'll find something else to do.
There you go.
But I mean, it's true. There was a little bit of a hype when it first started, the real world and everything, and it was kind of cool to have the idea of real people that were not celebrities in their everyday life. But then they became celebrities.
Well, they started acting like celebrity. I remember I had a friend at an audition. And the guy was on like Average Joe Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
And I never watched reality shows, but I remember that we were on the studio backlot. We were auditioning for something. I don't think either of us got it. And people would walk by and come, "Hey, Average Joe, suck it." And the crew knew who he was, and they hated him because he was a living representative of reality TV.
Oh,
You know,
God.
and-
What a terrible thing to live with.
And he's telling me, he goes, the one thing Average Joe would make him do is you had to prove your bills were paid for like 3 months because they didn't want any articles like Average Joe costs Elmer his house in Palm Springs, you know, and
I don't know. Average Joe. That sounds horrible. I never even heard of that.
Bland,
I
awful,
stay
yeah.
away from reality TV as much as I can. I watch either the really trendy superhero stuff going on, which is cool.
Atta girl.
Yeah.
Tell me
Yeah,
more.
superhero.
I love. Yeah.
You're
I
just trying to suck up to us.
No, right? No, did you see the real the one that was just came out, the new Spielberg one? What's it called? Ready
Player One, like
I
the
just
book.
saw it.
How was it?
It was really good, and
You got to see the Iron Giant in there.
yes, I did.
I love the Iron
Yes,
Giant.
and
heard-
there's so many Easter eggs in this movie.
I heard Chucky's in it.
yes,
Wow.
Chucky, and then you got Terminator, and
Oh, look in the window. It's already been over a minute. We're going
got-
to go to a commercial break.
We will maintain radio sounds, gang. You'll hear some cute commercials, a little bit of an 80s song, and then we'll be back with the lovely and cool Caroline DeGray.
Yeah.
All
Should we-
right, we got about 4 minutes worth of commercials.
Okay. Let
All
them know.
right, let us know, Dan. You're
Let
the
us
man.
know.
You're the producer. Let
You're
us
the
know.
board op.
All right. Commercial
Say
break
the word,
on the
let
Jeff
us know.
Sargent Show. A word from sponsors.
Sweet Caroline.
no.
Ba-ba-ba. You hear it at the local hockey game, Ontario Reign.
All right, let's see here. Yeah, you need to unmute my microphone. Jeff. All right, we got about 10 seconds. Unmute my mic.
He's never on Facebook.
5,
4, 3, 2, and fun. Back to you, gang.
Welcome back to the second half of the Jeff Sargent Show on Kaotic Radio.
Jeff is so memorable, he can't remember the name of his own show.
Hey, it happens, man. Boy, look at all the love hearts coming in on the woohoo. Justin Haynes, my nephew. Say hello to my nephew, Justin.
Hi, Justin.
Why is your nephew making hearts at you, Jeff? That's a little creepy.
No, that's because he's not looking at me. He's looking at
Thank you. Well, there you go, baby. The money shot. Woo.
Money shot.
Lean forward and wink at his nephew.
He used to back in like early 2000, late 90s when he was in high school. He did a thing called DWAC, Dudes with a Camera. This is before. Yeah.
That's also the sound he made.
This was
when he was
this was no, I think it was earlier 90s. Yeah, but
when he was dwacking off.
Yeah. Him and his high school friends were funny. They did
hashtag clever wordplay.
They did
I
stop
thought it was
motion.
like a duck quack. I was going really cleaner with that. I'm like a dwack, like it was like a duck quack.
You clearly were never a 14-year-old boy.
No, clearly, no. I've never changed my sex.
Wow, well, thank goodness.
Okay, now let's get back to our star here.
So
You're
how
the
did
star
you,
of the Jeff Sargent
how did you
Show.
wind up starring in Cataract Canyon?
Cataract
Summer.
Gold?
Cataract Gold. Thank
Cataract
you.
Gold. How did I end up? Well,
There is a canyon, though, right?
Yes,
Okay.
by the Green River in Utah.
Oh, hence the name of the killer.
Well, no, the killer, no. I killed two people in that movie.
Oh, you're a murderer in it.
Well, I'm defending myself.
Wow.
She's got to defend herself,
Yes.
even
Those aren't the eyes
even
of
if
a
you
murderer.
have to die.
Yes.
Those aren't the eyes of a murderer.
These
why I
men
get away
died
with
so
it.
you could live.
So yeah,
Kill or be killed, you know?
well, exactly, especially in the Wild West.
Yeah.
And in the ending of Cataract Gold, they have to find a jury of her peers, and they can't do it.
Right, they can't do
Well, my next question
Victoria's
for
Secret wouldn't be
Cataract
open for
Gold,
another 200
what year,
years.
what time period is it? Is it modern time? Is it contemporary? Is
She
it
just
back
told
then?
you it was a period piece, dummy.
Oh, a period piece.
Yes,
Was
period
I?
piece.
I'm listening,
It takes
I
place
want-
in the late 1800s.
Late 1800s?
Yeah, the late 1800s. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, like around 1890-ish, somewhere in there.
Okay. How was the continuity in that? Was it good? Did you keep on top of that?
We actually stayed pretty good with that. I was thinking the whole time during filming, we were really aware of like anything that was like straggling on set because sometimes
Like
you had
truck-
to reshoot.
truck
Like,
tire
there's a water
track.
bottle.
In the last
Pepsi
10,
bottles, cans.
Right.
in the last 10 minutes when she's on the run from the Grissom boys in the canyon, her phone is no longer in service.
Right? Yeah. So I'm pulling it out. I'm like, oh my God, no.
Damn it.
No. At one time, my co-star, it was funny because we were riding up and then she calls cut on herself because she had her sunglasses on still and didn't even realize it because we're so used to having sunglasses. She's
And that
like,
was after 6 months of shooting.
Right, no, that was actually, no, it's one of the first scenes that we were shooting, one of our first days shooting, but that was hilarious because we're like riding along and she's like, cut, my sunglasses. He's like, what the hell's going on? Why are you calling cut?
Yeah, in front of the director.
Right? He's just looking like, oh, whoa, roles reverse here. No. So, anyways. So yeah, we have that was a lot of fun, and then it got me involved with Real Smile, and then doing other movies after that, and then doing smaller things. And I had my radio show at COD for a little while.
Did you really?
I did.
What was it called?
It was Earth Connect. It was environmental news. So I would interview. I know, right? I know, but I liked it.
Wow, well, if it made you happy, if you were there, you could at least guarantee the viewership.
Well, I actually, there was that, and then I actually got to pick all the music. So I got to put in my own music, and then I would put in the times it was playing and that kind of thing. And it was I did my own PSAs. It was fun.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
That was the one thing on college radio you'd learn is you couldn't mess with the PSAs.
Really?
Yes, you couldn't. You couldn't. We made fun of McGruff the crime dog.
Oh my God.
We cut him so he kept
remember
going tick, 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 tick. And then that was the one thing we were called in the carpet for. You can't mess with the PSAs.
Oh my God. No, I even created my own. I made I did a 60-second one, a 30-second one, and then a 15-second one.
Wow, you would cut your own PSAs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
We did it on GarageBand.
Oh, really?
Yes.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really cool. And had a little bit of a little jingle behind it and everything, you know, a little generic, but it's fun.
Are you happy with Palm Springs?
I like it there, actually. It's nice because it's really close to LA without being in LA.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the Inland Empire.
Yeah.
Shut that ugly goon's voice up.
Damn it.
I can't control my own show. I'm just Sergeant.
I am not an engineer. I'm learning how to work my computer after, 4 years now?
I'm straight out of room
well, you're on your
5.
way.
That's what we call in the biz a callback.
Yeah, we were getting pretty
callback.
silly before you came here, so we were
Well,
trying
I'm
to...
happy I straightened you guys out.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeff created an effigy of you out of sticks.
Oh, Lyle
my
Fenmore from Titan Radio is watching our show from another radio station.
Hey, welcome.
Booyah.
Booyah.
Dump the zero, get with the hero, Titan Radio.
Right? So I have a couple more roles coming up in the next couple weeks.
Tell us about them.
Yes, I have.
Before you do Jeff East, South of France snuff movie.
Right, before I do that one and before I do the India one. So I have 2 roles coming up. One is I get to play an FBI agent,
Ooh.
Agent White, and this is a movie that's going to be called Undrafted. And
What's a horror movie?
No, it's a suspense. It's like I play an FBI agent that's investigating a murder.
You look good in a London fog jacket.
Yeah, so I'll be pretty much wearing a black business suit, and they're gonna get me
Sunglasses.
an FBI hat. And I told them
Wow.
I really want to carry a gun, so find me a gun to wear.
Wow.
And then I have another role with a small production company that's just starting out in the desert. That they've made me a core group member of. I guess you want to say it. So that one, Agents of Odd Productions, is what they're called. And they're also friends of mine, and they've been doing some little skits on the side, that kind of thing. And so they've done a few shorts, and then they brought me in with this new movie that they're doing. It's called Shovel, and I get to play an aggressive accountant.
Really?
So basically, gun scenes and knife fights are not really a new thing to me.
Wow.
So that's really cool. So we're gonna have like this all-out big like shootout scene, like out in this weird like airplane hangar that's been abandoned, and it's actually we found some cool locations for it.
Will this be out in Palm Springs?
Yes. So they're actually in the process of filming right now. My character comes in halfway through, so I think we start filming my character in about 2 weeks, give or take. And Agents of Odd Productions is Shane Avila is the writer of it, and he does most of the dialogue-driven scenes that we do. And then we have Brandon Warswick, who does all the videography and drone, and he's like the DP extraordinaire. And we have Kali, who Kali Gear is one of the leads, and then Andrew McGinnis is also another lead in the movie. So these are all local people, and we've kind of got people who are active in film and are making a group that we can actually depend on to create content and continue to kind of put our ideas out there without waiting for other people to employ us.
Are you the female lead?
I am.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes, I'm one among all the men. Yes, I'm one of the boys.
Wow, hubba. Hopefully you'll live to the ending, because otherwise it'll be a sausage fest.
Right? Well, no, I'm pretty good at keeping them in line.
Who killed Agent DeGrave?
No. I think I get to kill a couple of them. And we haven't figured out what the ending for my character is yet, because they've written me in. So they're just kind of like...
Oh, was your part written for a dude and they made it?
No,
wow.
They wrote it for me. They called me up and we had a conference call yesterday. I kid you not. They called me up and we had this conference call with 4 people on 4 different lines. And they said, so we've written literally this role for you. And her first name is Raina, and that's all I know so far in terms of that. And I know that she enforces people to pay the clients of these people, like they're bad people basically, and kill people. And so basically I'm their enforcer, and I'm like this really badass chick.
You're an enforcer chick? That sounds pretty good.
Kind of somewhere between a Lara Croft and Sarah Connor. I don't know.
Oh, wow, nice. Palm Springs drove me crazy because it was so hot. Mm-hmm. You could barely think. Thursday night was antique night during the main row in Palm Springs.
Right.
And the only other thing, they had a movie theater and they had a Ruby's, and I heard the Ruby's just closed.
Oh, shoot. It wasn't ever really busy in there, so I understand.
And they took down the, is it true they took down the Sonny Bono statue? That's what I was told.
Yeah. They
What about the Marilyn Monroe statue? They took that down too?
They changed the statues around quite a bit, actually.
Were those life-size statues?
Yeah.
A
Marilyn
little
was.
bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They oftentimes the public art displays usually do get changed out quite a bit because we do have a lot of art and a lot of creative and energy that comes out of the desert. So you'll see even along El Paseo, all the little statues and little art pieces along the way. Every so often, maybe quarterly or something, you'll see them change.
Wow.
So I think it's something that they do. Even the Maryland statues, like they dismantled it after a while and took it away.
You don't think they're melting the bronze and making the next statue that's going on display?
You know what? If they're doing it, then that's fine. Okay, we have pictures of it. We have selfies with them. It's great.
I remember
everything is immortal now.
My brother. I was working on this low budget thing, and the budget was getting lower and lower, and eventually, the director was at war with so many people. The director and I were paired off as roommates because I got along with everybody. Mm-hmm. We come back to the room, and on the table there's a bunch of there was a meal and a card, and he goes, "Oh, the hotel must have known I was the director." And he runs over to the card, and this poor guy couldn't catch a break all through shooting.
Oh God!
The actresses have formed against him. The producer has formed against him.
That's terrible.
I know, it was very depressing. He takes the card and he suddenly opens it, and then he hands it face down on the table. He goes, "It's for you." My brother put me in for like some sort of rewards for the hotel.
Oh my God. I hate people do that.
I know. I just felt bad. He was at that Hitler in the bunker face.
Oh, God.
Everyone's against me. And he goes, "The hotel cares." And when he opened it, the hotel didn't care.
Right, yeah. Yeah, the victim role, you can only play so long.
Exactly, and
it burns out eventually.
Well, the terrible thing is he was right out of AFI, and half the kids were. I was the sputtering teacher. It was reality show kids playing students.
How fun though! It's gonna be fun.
And we went clubbing because the reality show, including Aubrey O'Day from before she did when she was doing Danity Kane.
I'm drawing a blank, but yeah.
They were all me too, but they were all club kids.
Okay.
So you would go clubbing with them, and they'd bring the director as a courtesy, and because I was the only one who yeah.
All right, you can come along because you employed us all.
They carded the director.
That's hilarious.
What? And the director had forgotten his driver's license.
Oh my God, I hate when that happens. There's always one.
Yeah,
and then the whole group has to turn it around.
No, these are club kids. We'll see you in a bit, Sean.
Bye.
And I thought they all ran inside, and I thought, you can't leave the poor guy out there. So I would kind of chat with Sean, but I'm keeping an eye what the club kids are doing.
That's funny.
And because everyone watched them on like the hills and everything, we would wind up going to mansion parties in Palm Springs at 3:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them. Even for Coachella and Stagecoach, there's always some sort of mansion party going on.
It was amazing. I mean, one guy had a fireplace so big I could walk through it standing up. Mm-hmm. And there was an unemployed, I remember this, one of the guys throwing the mansion party was so rich. He had a recently laid off aerospace engineer working the bar as his bartender.
Really?
I mean, that's money, man. You know what I mean?
It's either money or the bartender.
Exactly.
I just wanted to play rookie for a second.
By the way, you're right. It was just, but it's
somebody who's like that. Usually, somebody who's like so well known or else like very reputable in some way. Sometimes they just want to lay low and do something lame. I don't know why. So many of us try to get out of that rut, but
well, this guy from the hills would tip everyone $100, and I'm like,
that's pretty cool.
You might want to hold on to that money. No, man, it just keeps coming in. It's like
I know people like that. They always seem to have money, and they're always blowing it. I'm like, where do you get this?
I mean, why would you tip a 7-Eleven clerk $100? It made no sense to me.
I've seen people give bums that kind of money. So
I wish I was a bum.
Right? I mean, yeah, literally, if you hang out in some rich areas and they want you out of there, they'll hand you money to leave. So you keep coming back, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a bear in a dumpster.
Right? It's like, yeah, stop coming here. We don't want you people around here. You vagrants. You society's vagrants, get out of here.
Right.
Okay, you pay us to leave? All right, I'll come back again tomorrow.
Homeless, the sidewalk is my pillow.
Right? It's exactly what works.
Wow.
Right.
So how come you have such great skin even though you're from the desert?
I don't know. I literally, people probably hate when I say this, but I don't have a skin regimen.
Wow.
I don't.
No, man, no favorite lotions.
Ponds. They're about $3 a pot.
Wow. I mean, my parents lived in Tucson. And
arid weather is terrible on skin,
but my mom was a nurse, so they always had good skin. They always wore their hats and stayed indoors. But you would go into the restaurants or the fries, and these guys looked like old boots.
Right.
And as soon as they came out in the sun, they would light up a cigarette. It's like, wow. You know?
Yeah. I think it's a lifestyle. It's just some people just have that look, and then they just kind of go with it. They're like, it's all right. I'm an old shoe. It's fine.
Wow.
And they start smoking, and they're drinking out there in the middle of the sun. I'm like, they're going to fall over soon.
They would look like reptiles, though. I mean, how they didn't have skin cancer.
I mean, it goes well with the arid environment. Might as well be a lizard.
Now, I want to know, are there rattlesnakes out there?
No, none.
No,
Ever.
really?
No, of course there are.
Tell us about some rattlesnake stories.
Well, we had a your phone likes to do things by itself.
It does. It's haunted.
Okay,
I'm going to smash it with a rock.
Don't do that. Just give it back to T-Mobile and say you're leaving them.
How dare you watch our show live on
I wanted to see.
You just popped up. Pat Jankowitz is watching.
I was gonna jump to the ending and see if I did anything cool.
You're being a voyeur on your own show.
I was a bounder. I wanted to watch myself.
Right? Yeah.
Now tell us a rattlesnake story.
Yeah, give us a good rattlesnake story.
So I did an internship at the Coachella Valley Preserve.
Wow, and, I've been there.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. And I would like clear out the ponds of all the crawfish because someone had some stupid, ungodly idea to abandon some live crawfish into the water, and so they're overpopulating. And they're going to
wreck for the fish.
And there's not enough Cajuns there to wrangle them and eat them, right?
Well, apparently the FDA has a problem with us selling the crawfish.
Were you selling them to Popeye's chicken or something?
I was thinking that. I was like, there's a way we can market this. But they weren't really on board with that. So anyways.
Shame on them.
So, yeah, getting back to the rattlesnake, we had a red diamondback that we had nicknamed Harry. You know, get the snake, Harry. And actually, he was pretty cool. He wasn't very aggressive. Usually we had a little stick that if he was in the road or something, we would just pull him off to the side. You know, go on your merry way. This is a road. Like, there's people here.
Would he sun himself on the ground?
Rocks?
Yeah.
I mean, you recognize this snake so well that you gave him a name and you know it's that snake.
Well, he always has the same territory and he always had kind of the same routine. And he knew like his little rat holes that he always went to. We had kangaroo rats that were nearby, and so you know it was kind of like his thing. And then one day we found him smashed, and we told him the road is a dangerous place.
Wow! So somebody drove over him.
Yeah. We found him on the road, smashed.
Oh, I hate that.
That's kind of sad, you know.
But that's the rattlesnake story.
He's a rattlesnake that minds his own business, does his own program.
But they all do that, and people take offense to the way they live.
They're going like,
it's their home.
It's a rattler.
It's a snake. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Do you know that we'd be overrun with insects and rodents if we didn't have spiders and snakes?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like the people who bitch about sharks. You know, you're going into the yard and complaining about them hanging out.
There are
anything that looks ferocious, you want to kill it. You know?
Right? Like, these are landmark animals. They are probably at the top of the food chain because they serve
apex
a purpose
predators
to ecology. Yeah. Apex predators.
They're there for balance.
Yes, exactly. Ecology is like something I really, really love and I'm really into. And I don't understand people that hunt these big things because they're in the way of their properties or their dogs or whatever herd they have grazing. And it's like, you know, bringing in the wolves to keep down the population
in Yellowstone, and then they start shooting at the wolves.
And then they start hunting them because there's too many of them.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Freaking morons.
Yeah.
When they introduced the wolves, where do they go? It started changing. It actually changes the course of nature.
Absolutely.
It actually changes the course of rivers.
Absolutely. And then what happens when you deplete the population is then you have the prey, which actually have
start to starve out.
A higher carrying capacity. So basically, the environment can carry more of them because they eat less food.
Right.
However, you don't have an apex predator around to keeping their populations down.
Exactly.
So then you have major
Overrun,
herbivores
the deer
that are
are eating all
everything.
the shrubs.
Yeah, yeah, it's
That's
ridiculous.
why you need predators.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways.
throw the homeless people from Orange County out there.
Well, they're on the phone right now, Wendy.
I kid.
We apologize to Room 5 and the homeless community of Orange County. By the way, Dan Rupp, don't think I didn't notice you mark yourself safe during the Apple shooting yesterday. He was with us here in the studio.
I'm safe.
Yeah, and then after the YouTube shooting, Dan, the smart aleck that he is, marked himself safe.
That's funny.
I didn't do
But
that.
back to that thing of the wolves, I saw the video
Yes.
on YouTube, and I was so impressed with it. I'm all like, it makes sense, you know,
Right.
how to keep that ecological balance
Right.
going, man.
Yeah.
When you take indigenous animals away and stuff, and
It's a problem though when you bring in a species that's not meant to be there, or one
cougar.
that will. I mean, think of like the what is it? The
They did that
the zebra mussel in the Great Lakes.
oh yeah.
By the way, remember,
That's a
I'm from
big,
Detroit.
big problem.
Yeah, no. And a snakehead, too. You know, the
Right.
snakehead have caused a lot of
Oh,
problems.
those are horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also. I mean, alligators. You know, in the Louisiana area. I mean, they're talking about people that even insects. You bring in these African bees that are super aggressive that don't actually like. I guess you can say procreate with the regular bees, and they're more aggressive and they're kind of edging out those that are supposed to be here.
It's like people killing male mosquitoes. The female mosquitoes are the ones that cause all the trouble and the malaria and all that.
Well,
you
same
know?
thing with carpenter bees. The women, the females are the dangerous ones. Those black ones that you see flying
They
around
always are.
don't have stingers. They don't have stingers.
Wow, yeah.
Don't trip on them. The golden ones are the ones that are dangerous and they're more aggressive. But there's like 1 to every 100 of black ones. So who cares?
This is true.
Yeah, and then there's ladybugs, which is really good for agriculture because they eat all the aphids and stuff
And
like
good
that.
luck, too. You know what I mean?
Well, they are, and they're kind of cute.
Yeah, exactly. You
But
can't kill a ladybug.
Right, but it's really important to kind of do some studies on what you're bringing in, especially if you're doing it to kind of keep the balance of another species that's maybe a pest, because that is going to invite other things.
The zebra in the Great Lakes has led to a lot of problems
Caused
for
a
them.
lot of problems with the plumbing out there and a lot of the oceans, because what happened is like with all the trade routes and everything, all the ships that were coming in, they were on the bottom of the boats. And then they'd come in the harbor, and they'd fall into the water. Like everything happens. Trade routes, everything happens. Like the same thing with the Black Plague. I mean, with trade routes came
With
all
the
that
rats
crap.
going to Europe, yeah.
Yeah.
And Catalina Island too, and they brought all the goats and the buffalo.
But you
there.
know
They
what?
were not natural.
The goats and what I love about Catalina is you're never going to find cats with thicker fur. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a great used bookstore in Catalina. The owners have these cats, and these things are like sheep. They'll sit in your lap, and you'll be looking at a book, and you just, it's a lazy day. This cat crawls in
That
your
would
lap
make
while you're
me
reading.
like never do anything.
Yeah, it makes me
I would
lethargic.
like, I would like sit there and drink hot chocolate all day and just have a cat in my lap. I'd be reading the Four Agreements like that.
You know, they brought in those animals to film those old movies back in the day. Now they got so overpopulated. That's why they have archery clubs and hunt clubs over there.
Wow, you're using archery to a buffalo?
Yeah. No, they'd keep the archery clubs that go there and they hunt and they keep the goat population.
We
down.
are,
And
we
the
are
boar
apex
hogs.
predators too.
The boar hogs, the goats, the buffalo, and the warthogs.
And the warthogs. Oh, the warthogs are pretty good game from what I understand. Dangerous, but yeah.
The javelina pigs or whatever you call them. Yeah.
Javelina, well, javelin pigs, right?
Javelin, yeah.
Wow, that's terrible.
Very dangerous. They'll come
You
at
are
you.
sick and twisted. We kind of dig it.
I told you I was a villain
Wow, villainous.
with a pretty smile.
You are wearing black, baby.
Hey, black is also a complimentary color
Wow, well, there you
or
go.
non-color.
It matches your headphones.
Exactly. Yeah, I like the matching. No,
Nice,
most
nice.
tech stuff is black anyway, so I can't go wrong.
This is true. And luckily, Dan over there was safe during the YouTube shooting yesterday. Speaking of the tech industry,
Dan is safe.
I'm behind.
You're always safe.
two people mark themselves safe, and they usually people who do that seriously are complete chodes. You know, they're nowhere near.
right here, but there's a
I
reason
never
it's
look at
not
those
on.
things on Facebook. I never see who's safe because you see the notification. I'm like, okay, hide. I know you're safe.
Right. You know, it's like, please, the London Bridge attack, And I had friends who were in Fontana marking themselves safe.
Oh my gosh. Well, people are jokesters, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. And they like the attention of being involved with anything. So
Right.
It's like
It goes all the way back to elementary school when the kid would die, and even if everyone hated him and he committed suicide, they were all his best friend once he
Right.
whacked himself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, to become a martyr. I knew him in life.
Right. Yeah.
I don't like drawing attention at all.
Never. No. Well, that's why we're on radio.
I'm shocked by you saying that.
Now I know what you're talking
Like we're in the
about.
entertainment industry. We like the
I
attention.
share a Netflix
Exactly.
account with my buddy Darren, and he did it because he has my passwords for everything. And he's a clown. He is an actual clown. And
Like for a profession?
Somebody
Yeah.
wondered why Grandpa Dan is
Cool.
watching so much tentacle porn.
so
hentai
that's
theater.
what happened. He marked me safe for the shooting.
Oh, he did
So all these
that.
people are like, "Oh, Dad, I'm so glad you're dead." I'm like, "What?"
Oh,
Then
okay,
I
that-
open
okay,
up my
Oh,
Facebook
so it
account.
Oh, I
wasn't
thought you were
you.
joking
Don't
when
put
you
that
said
there.
you didn't know about that.
No.
So you really didn't know.
No.
Someone marked him safe because it has passwords to
I
his
laughed
Facebook.
like a donkey.
I'm gonna take him off my Netflix
Oh,
account.
I
man.
laughed like a donkey as soon as it said Dan marked himself safe in the YouTube shooting.
Oh my god. No, never give your Facebook password to anyone.
Like,
Never.
I don't even live close to up north there. You know, I'm in Rancho. I don't leave my. I'm so paranoid of sharks and grizzly bears and rattlesnakes. I don't even leave my front room. I mean, I go front room, bathroom, bedroom. That's about it.
So if a grizzly bear wanted to kill you, you'd have to walk all the way out here.
Yeah.
Oh
Could that
my
happen?
God. Well, with a little bit of effort, yes.
I mean, after the fires in 2004, we had a grizzly in the backyard. You know,
They come down here. The grizzly are black bears.
and no, he
We
was
got
you're
little
right,
cute
but
black bears up here. In
he
the
was a
local-
younger-
There's
he
one that comes down near San Bernardino or whatever, and like they'll come down, but like that's like far for them. And also Whitewater, they've had a few sightings of a bear.
We also had my brother got up at like 5 a.m. like about a week ago, and he
About a week ago.
and well, he had
Got up at
mountain
5.
he had a mountain lion in the backyard.
That's
you know?
pretty cool. I don't know. I'd feel really lucky to be visited by a mountain lion. I mean,
Yeah, tell me about it when your arm is missing.
no, because I mean, me and felines have a connection. So
Keep telling yourself that.
But you know what? There
When
must
he's
be like
connecting his teeth to your carotid artery.
No. I am the cat whisperer.
Wow. Interesting, Catwoman.
Yes, they're my favorite animals. Wild cats. I actually intend.
Felidae. I do remember that used to be their name for wild cats.
Right. Yes. Yes. And I do intend to do something with charity later on, like when I get a little bit more notoriety.
yeah.
Wow.
I like to get involved with wild cats, or at least anti-poaching, or maybe just poach the poachers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, can I get away with killing them? Maybe.
By the way, Jeff East is asking the same thing about you in his French snuff film.
Oh, I see.
Can I get away with killing her? She is from Caen in France.
Nope, can't get away with it. Too many people following me on Facebook now.
Well, in the age of OJ, there's too many blondes in California.
Right? I know, right? Yeah.
I think that's all your idea there, Mr. Snuff.
Yeah, let's
Knock
keep
it
your
off.
mind, Patrick.
Jeff already volunteered to be the cameraman.
Doing cleanup.
Yeah,
cleanup. He's the cleanup guy.
Yeah, Dan, we're going to need you in a big bottle of Ajax.
Comment Ajax.
Pour it
bleach.
all over everything. I've seen
Right?
enough NCIS episodes.
Oy, God.
Well, remember, after those shows came on, actually, cops were reporting because so many of those shows showed you how to dump Clorox on the body and everything. It was getting harder to pick up clues because people were pouring it all over the crime scene.
I've heard that with all the crime shows there are, and like the more and more forensic information that they give us to get around things. It's like watching Dexter. I was like, oh yeah, the paint plastic around everywhere. Yeah, if we wanted to kill somebody.
It would be the
I was like,
same.
why are you giving us ideas?
The Dexter copycat killer.
Right? Like, they'll never be me because I just said it on radio. So
Right.
automatically, I'm obsolete in this whole conversation.
Don't blame me. I'm just an actor.
Yeah, like when I got in my last incident, when I took a 30-day leave, or was it 7-day leave? This was just a couple days. And, I woke up out of my fit that I had, and my toes were like black and blue, and I had scabs all over.
Oy.
And after watching all these things on Netflix and stuff, I thought I was attacked by a until I
Things.
got my wits, I'm sitting in my hospital bed going, Where's all the agents at? Nobody's asked me questions.
Yeah, when we visited Van, he said, Jeff and I are sitting there, and he told this beautiful nurse and doctor, I'm just sitting here talking to these two girls. And they go, he'd been in there like a day. And they go, when did you get here, Mr. Rupp? I got here about an hour ago.
Oops.
Yeah, he was punchy.
Slightly punchy.
So I see another Western here. Tucker's War. What was that about?
Tucker's War is the pilot that that Savage shot that I am actually cast in the second episode. So I haven't had that role yet. It's upcoming with the budget being lifted. Let's see. I think the budget will be released for that sometime in the summertime or end of summer. So basically, when I come back from India, I think that's when that's going to happen. And then I've also been in a short film called Tales of Dark Horse Ranch. And that Dark Horse Ranch is owned by Daryl Keith Harris, who was an extra in La La Land and got to be a swing dancer with Emma.
Wow. So she's adorable, actually.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So he owns Dark Horse Ranch, and so we shot a film out there. And I think that's still in post, though. It's still being edited and whatnot and being distributed. I think it's going to head toward festivals soon. And so those are my Western things. Those are the ones I did my horse stuff on.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun.
What is Fraternity of Blood? Is that horror? Tell us about that.
Well, Fraternity of Blood is basically a new breed of vampires. That
Are you a vampire in it?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
But
Hubba.
The vampires are kind of interesting because the first one came around during an eclipse. They're daywalkers. So they're daywalkers. That also helps for filming cheap in the desert. Bingo. Yes.
Exactly.
But also, they're because one of them was able to have a child in mid transition with a human because she was pregnant when she turned.
Just like Blade.
So basically, these children, they're immortal and they are immortal, but they stay human in their human life until they die. When they die is when they become vampires.
Did you get fangs in it?
Well, I will, but I'm still a human in the first few episodes.
Oh.
And then when you die is only when you actually gain your vampire powers.
Wow.
So, like, you have to have the vampire blood in you.
Sounds like a bit of a cheat, actually.
It's a whole spin. I mean, the writer of this has a huge story behind this, and it gets so convoluted that I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to like make a series for this because this is not a film. It's gonna take forever to get all this
you
detail
can't do it in 2 hours.
No. So that's what that's based. That's just what she's trying to do. She's playing with the idea of either TV series length or she wants to just do a web series, and we'll do like little 8 to 10 minute skits and just keep making them.
You'll bust out your old eyeliner lipstick.
Yeah,
go to town.
Like, well, hopefully we'll have a little bit of CGI or we can add some red eyes or something and maybe some cool stuff.
Or contacts, but yeah.
No, contacts suck.
Have you ever tried that? Putting those weird contacts?
Yes, they're terrible.
I never. It's hard.
I for Halloween. I mean, I had like these reptile eyes or something for 1 year, and I mean, like I took them out within an hour. I went out, took a few pictures, and I'm like, I'm done.
People would buy those at like gas stations and get pink eye.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I got mine at least for like I think $20. They weren't the $5 kind.
Okay, yeah. You got the little spinners going there on the shelf with the gas station, and then you get the reptile and vampire and bowling ball eyeballs, the contacts you can put on.
You have like an 8 ball
right there on the shelf.
Yeah, the cat, and
that's
you had
a
the
piece
white
of
one.
crap. Try that on before you got there and bought them.
It's like you see it's half open. You're like, yeah, I want that one.
It's only $2.50.
right next to the chewing gum.
Right. I'm gonna put that in my eyes.
People buy them.
Wow.
Every Halloween. They're running out the door. I forgot my contacts. Oh, the gas station has them.
Wow, gas station has them. Yuck.
Right? It's like, no, you just don't do that no matter how desperate you want your contacts. No.
I mean, be the hot chick vampire without the contacts.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Halloween, everyone knows you're fake anyways. I mean, the greatest costume, really, like, I don't care. I don't care.
What do you think of clowns?
No, clowns. I mean, I don't like clowns, but
so there.
Like
Dan wants to know
what's that stupid movie, Clowns from Outer Space?
Okay, first of all, it's not stupid.
Yes,
second of all, it's made by the Chiodo brothers. Actually, let me tell you.
Then that song that they play or whatever.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I was a teenage set crasher, and those guys who made that movie,
Right.
one of them recognized me not belonging on a set when I was like 15. And I asked him, he pulled me aside and he goes, "You're not supposed to be here." And it was the Chiodo brothers. And I go, "How did you know that?" And he goes, "I've been in this awful movie for 3 weeks, and you're the only one here at 3 o'clock in the morning who's smiling."
That makes sense.
I have to defend the Chiodo brothers. They could have ratted me out and got me thrown off the set, which was it was some Blade Runner ripoff. They were shooting in what is now the Citadel Mall. Back then, it was the abandoned Uniroyal Tire Factory.
Okay.
And so the Killer Clowns, if you haven't seen it in a while, is actually a really smart, cool movie.
Okay. What's it called?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah,
I
a
was
great
like,
movie.
They had those cotton candy guns,
Yes,
and they would cocoon you.
No, I forgot the first word. I was like, Killer Clown from Outer Space. That's right. That's
Yeah,
why I
just-
lost my track of my
It used to
train of
run
thought.
on Up All Night. Remember? It was one of the big Up All Night movies. You know what I mean?
It was terrible. I watched it and I was like, why did I just watch that? I just
Did it
wasted-
scare you
I
as a
just-
little girl?
That brought more creepiness to and horror to the clown community, right, Dan?
Well, it just made me not like clowns. I mean, it was a scary movie when I was younger. The new one didn't scare me. I was
Oh,
like,
it didn't scare you?
no, it was like,
I never liked clowns. I went to the circus. Man, I remember my grandpa took me to Ringling Brothers, and there was these horrible.
It was the homeless man he called Grandpa. Who lived behind the-
God, those clowns were creepy, man. Those circus clowns were creepy.
what I don't like is horror films, and then they have like these little monsters running around carnivals at night. What's that? Ghoulies.
Oh
Is it-
yeah,
remember
Ghoulies.
Remember the guy in the toilet and he's little
you
tiny,
know
and
what?
then they were running around this old abandoned like carnival parade.
Yes, that was
the Ferris
Ghoulies, too.
wheel and stuff. And I was like, see, I'm never going to a carnival ever again.
You know, the producer of that movie, Charles Band, he told me he would get letters. And because the big thing was the ghoulie coming out of the toilet.
Yes, he was awesome.
It was just one shot in the movie, but they made it the poster with the catch.
Yeah.
And
But he was really, there was something about that character that stuck out that even to my mind, that's the only one that really stands out. The other ones, I don't remember what they look like.
they said they'll get you in the end was on the poster. And he said he had framed a letter when the movie came out in California and across country at the drive-ins. Dear Mr. Band. And, he's reading his own letters, and it said, "Thanks, a-hole. We just potty trained our 3-year-old who saw your commercial and is urinating in the kitchen now." And he framed that and he put it in his office next to a poster of
actually
Ghoulies. But he said it started so formal, and then "Thanks, a-hole."
I would like
wanna
mass
go
produce
in the
that letter. I would
toilet.
totally mass produce that letter. I'd be like, it's for sale, autographed by me.
And he said the funny thing about the letter, almost verbatim, he would get them because the movie would be playing across country. That's how Full Moon or Band Empire Pictures would work.
Okay.
They would bicycle it around country. They wouldn't open the same day. This battered print
Right.
would go from, and by the time it hit Detroit, he said he was getting almost identical letters from angry parents who never saw the movie.
Right,
But they
yeah, it
potty
became
trained
a
their
thing.
kid and they saw the commercial during a cartoon or something.
People are so funny.
But they knew what was hilarious to him is
Right.
they knew he was the producer and they would write for him.
Well, it
and write
became
him-
iconic. Just
Yeah.
that scene. I mean, I was like, the scene that the guy's coming. I think, yeah, it's a movie.
They'll
poster.
get you in the end. It was the Ghoulies, yeah.
Right, you know, with all the teeth, and he's like,
And that's, what's interesting is that's the scene people remember from that movie.
absolutely.
But they don't remember the first 5 minutes where a beautiful redhead is about to pound a metal bar through a baby's head, which I thought was.
You know what? Now you've mentioned it,
Yeah.
I do remember it. But honestly, I would never have remembered that. Like, I just remember the guy
The monster
in the
coming out of the
carnival and
toilet.
coming out of the toilet. That's all I remember.
Were you peeing in the hallway?
And after I saw that, I would have to check the toilet behind the toilet, lift
Of
both
course.
rings, and I'm like, okay, nothing's gonna come out at me, and I would not even sit down. I'd just kind of like, it's gonna really have to reach to get me.
Now, just think of all the horror movies that have things coming out of the toilet from snakes, ghoulies and insects and
There's all sorts of them.
piranhas.
Like, yeah, there's a crocodile in the sewer. There's like
Oh, I love
slugs.
Alligator. That's a great movie.
Yes. And then there's like Slugs. I think it was another one.
Slugs was written by a former editor I used to write for.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I used to run it Up All Night all the time.
Slugs is a crazy movie.
Yeah, no. So you grew up with Up All Night. You used to watch Up All Night?
Yes.
I met, I went to a party, and the girl at the party was the genie from, her dad was one of the monkeys. Oh, what's her name? She was the queen of Up All Night. Amy, thank you, Amy Dolan.
Amy Dolan.
Okay.
And we took at the end of the night, the hostess came over and we took a picture. It was a Shambhala. It was I was covering the Shambhala. They were earning money for the lion preserve.
Okay, I don't remember that.
And I have a great shot of her dying because I started singing the theme to Miracle Beach in her ear.
Oh my God.
Remember Miracle Beach? It was like
do.
a $2 I Dream of Genie
Right.
shot, and it's all stolen shots. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my God. No, I totally forgot about that. I mean, I Dream of Genie, it was like, I watched it a few times, but I was more of a Bewitched girl.
Oh, you were more bewitched?
Yeah.
Which is ironic because when you drive to LA, in Monrovia is where I Dream of Genie's son, he was a juicer, you know. And
Oh, okay.
He overdosed and at this gas station right off of the 210.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man, I didn't know that.
You know, in the muscle supplement or whatever it was, but yeah.
Muscle supplement? Is that what they're calling it now?
Yeah, wink, wink.
Like that's
Nobody wants to get sued.
right?
The juicer. Steroids.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Well, now juicing is a whole healthy thing. You know,
Oh
your
yeah,
kale, your
exactly.
ginger. Yeah, that's
And kale's good. You jerks are putting down kale, but I think kale it tastes like slightly different.
Tastes like collard greens without flavor.
To me, it tastes like we just mentioned it. What's the green stuff from the water?
Seaweed?
No,
What? I'm like,
no, come
Algae?
on, no.
reeds?
You have it. Coleslaw, you morons.
Oh, coleslaw.
Not you, but him and him.
Like coleslaw, like in the water. Coleslaw doesn't grow. Coleslaw is a
Yeah, but you
mix.
have it in a seafood restaurant, Smarty.
Oh, and your seafood
You don't have
meals.
coleslaw plants.
All I know is kale will clog up my Nutra bullet that I use
Oh,
to
yeah.
juice with, and it's kind of stringy once it starts going. So sometimes it
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's-
That's like
it's like-
putting celery in your.
It's like
Kale should be ate
yeah,
like celery.
It's super fibrous. It's like you don't shred it because it just gets in your stuff, and like the blade gets all tangled up with
and
stuff.
then it
It's-
stops. The
No,
bullet.
But you
doesn't
like
work.
kale, don't you? Or you
I
don't?
don't. I like a little bit of it, like if it gives texture to a salad or something. But I usually will do it with like other lettuce. Like I won't just have kale.
I
Really,
don't
you wanna
need
have
kale
kale
to
for
stay
kale's sake?
healthy.
Or you
I'm
can,
eating
or chop
beets.
It up, or chop it up so that way it's easily digestible. Like you can do like quinoa and kale salad.
I eat beets. Beets are good for you.
Beets are really good.
I eat beets and I take ginseng and you chop it up and you boil your water and you add lemon and you make ginger infused water and it
I love ginger infused water.
it cleans you out.
I
man.
know it's really
keeps you
really
healthy.
good. That's like I actually do that almost every winter since like I found out about it a few years ago. I
Yeah.
make it all the time. It's so super cheap. Ginger, you just throw a little bit in there, boil it, drink it. It's your tea.
Yeah.
It's better than paying $4 for a box of 20 packets of tea.
Yeah. You could buy a whole chunk of ginger for $1. you know?
It's exactly like 80 cents and you have tea for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. So you're a ginger drinker, not a tea drinker.
I actually do drink tea too. I don't want to put it down, but ginger is my favorite. I never get sick, so I think it's doing something right.
I recommend that you start eating beet salad, Janky.
Beet salad, all right, but you claim this is better than kale? Because I'm
Beets
like
are
kale.
very good. Do the research on
Yeah,
the beets.
yeah.
Beets keep your immune system good, man.
Yeah, they really do.
I'm big on cranberry juice. You know what I mean?
You can overdose on juices. Don't do it when you.
Cranberry juice is good. Cranberry cocktail is bad.
Really? Cranberry juice cocktail.
Look,
What do you
cranberry-
say?
Cocktail is sugar. It's hummingbird feeder shit.
Oh no, but I go with
It's like drinking a big thing of orange. You're ODing on sugar when you drink these
Bingo.
juice
These
bottles. A big glass of
look
juice.
at the back of that thing. The nutrition label says it's like glucose, fructose.
But what
fructose.
about when it says natural, no added preservative?
That's
Natural
natural
means it's
sugar,
not
and that's
plastic.
bad too.
Natural is just a nice way of saying like the sugar comes from nature too.
Wow, because I'm a heavy coffee drinker, so I've had
It's
a
kind
couple.
of the same thing as organic. And the only difference between organic and not organic is the pesticides they use. That's the only difference. It's
You're bumming me out, Blondie.
It's synthetic pesticides versus organic pesticides. Basically, organic are not as effective, so they have to use more of it.
Wow.
That's the
Well,
only
you're bumming me out. Thank you.
Like you've paid more to have more pesticides on your food.
Wake up to reality.
That's depressing to me.
Well, I wrote a whole paper on it for a final.
For Coachella or for Cal State San Bernardino, Little Coyote?
It was I think it was for COD actually. But I remember doing that, and I also did an article on it when I was writing for the Chaparral, the paper.
Did you write for the Cal State San Bernardino paper?
The COD paper.
Wow.
I was what was I? I was current events, and so I was always doing stuff on the environment.
I used to write Coyote tracks for the
Really?
Cal State San Bernardino
cool.
paper. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I loved writing for them. It was so much fun. You
Wasn't
got
it?
to like choose your topic and go out and interview people and professors, and I was always had the biggest article.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even once you'd see your byline, before I started writing professionally, and it was always so fun because you just. Then when you go professional, it's like you had to chase these morons down for your money, and it was a lot less fun than it was on the school paper.
Right. No, the school paper was fun, and then people were eager to talk to you and encourage you and
Oh
support you.
boy,
Yeah.
another.
They were throwing you out on your butt. Every
Yeah.
5 seconds.
You know what I mean? I mean, like in the real world.
Right, exactly. Now it's like you come with your media pass. They're like, close the door.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. Even for a charming blonde.
Yes, I know. Even for me, it was hard. And I even had my little COD media pass.
Wow.
So I could really go anywhere. I mean, I went to the Chamber of Commerce, I went to City Hall, and I was like, oh, can anyone talk to me about this? I'm a student.
Wow. Did they sent you down to it just closed. It was the worst mall of all time. It was
No.
Carousel. Did you ever go to the Carousel Mall?
No.
The Carousel Mall was the scum on earth. It was the most depressing, horrible mall. And
I don't know. I don't even know where that was.
Oh, God.
in San Bernardino. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Carousel
okay. Yeah,
Mall.
see, no, I was in San Bernardino. I was literally only there for campus. I did not hang out.
But it
I
wasn't
knew
worth hanging out.
my way from campus to Starbucks out.
Wow.
That
By the way,
was it.
and that was like the only Starbucks for 30 miles at one point.
I knew where it was.
Wow. My favorite, they had this camper shell on the way in. And when you take the 215, it was like the entrance to hell. It would become more and more barren as you drove
That's
in.
your landmark. Oh
Yeah.
my God. There's the shell.
And it would say the camper shell said Falls bail bonds. I'll
Are you
get you.
serious?
Oh yeah, I'll get you out if it takes 20 years. It's like
I remember
That is the wrong slogan for a bail
if
bondsman.
it takes 20 years, I don't need
I
a bail
thought that
bondsman.
was so funny.
It was like call Saul type deal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
As I was leaving the jailhouse over there at West Valley, I'd see the billboard.
Jeff was a guest.
And I say, we'll get you out if it takes 20 hours. I go, that made me feel so good.
Right? Yeah. Like,
Remember the fun fact here: Vince Gilligan's pilot script for Breaking Bad was set in Riverside.
oh, was it?
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, tweaker.
Yeah, I mean it was because in the 90s, Cal State on the way to Cal State, you'd see this beautiful girl. I remember this beautiful girl at this gas station in Fontana, and then she'd get. It was like one of those time lapse of the cat dying and the bugs eating it alive. And her eyes started to hollow out. She got teeth like Indian corn, and you realize she was tweaking. Yeah. And then she went, sores around her mouth.
Faces of meth. I know.
Yeah, faces of meth. But this was in real time. You'd stop every morning, and she was getting skinnier.
I've seen that in real life.
It was horrifying.
It's,
San
you know
Bernardino,
somebody,
yeah.
and then you see them next time, and you're like, what the hell happened to you?
And they have like those vacuum
And they're
cleaner
like,
sores
hi,
around the
hi,
mouth.
I'm
Yeah.
doing great.
Yeah, and they're bouncing, and
Yeah,
like her
you're
teeth
just-
are. Why is a 20-year-old girl's teeth falling out? I mean, it's horrifying.
Right, and their skin looks horrible. They're ashen, and they're usually scratching themselves.
Yeah, no,
or-
they've got the tweaker scratches all over their arms.
And they're looking over their shoulder every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And they're usually around DHS at night.
Wow, yes, actually.
You'll see them.
Wow.
They're on every street corner. And it's like, no, they're there again. Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Move to San Bernardino, everybody.
That's where they
Right.
drive
Now
the
you know
bikes
why I
around
knew
with
only
no
campus and
t-shirts.
Starbucks.
Gateway to
We're
excellence.
going to give it Upland's motto, the town of gracious living.
City of gracious living.
City of
morons.
gracious living.
Is that really a thing? Is that really the
It
motto?
is.
Really?
City of gracious living. That's Upland.
Oh, okay.
Birthplace of Melinda Clark from the OC.
Do we have a slogan for San Bernardino? Do they have a
Yeah,
motto?
it's like where hope goes to die.
When hope goes to
Just croak right now.
Yeah, my life plans didn't work out. Welcome to San Bernardino.
Right. If you live there, that's exactly what happened. No advertisement needed.
If you thought Southern California was cool, and also the old one used to be Gateway to Hesperia.
God.
which I used to call Desperia.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Desperia. That's a good movie. Instead of Suspiria, we'll have it Desperia.
And Desperia's slogan was, "We're not 29 Palms."
Yeah, we're better than that.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Yeah. That's pretty funny, actually. I'm surprised I actually went what is it on what's that movie? Was it on Wisteria Drive?
Oh yeah. Desperate Housewives.
Yeah. I was thinking,
which I never watched.
Yeah, I was thinking Stepford Wives. And I was like, no, wrong thing.
Stepford Wives. I think the town is called Stepford.
Right? Yeah, it's Stepford Wives. But I was like, Wisteria Lane. Why'd they choose Wisteria of all things? It's too close.
It probably means something. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's meant to suggest hysteria or something. You know?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, there's probably a play on words in there somewhere, but.
There's a pretty good book, and I'm blanking on the title. It's on every show that launched the year Desperate Housewives launched, 24 NCIS.
Okay.
And of course, Lost at the head of the book.
Yeah. I never watched it.
I never did either, but I do remember when the pilot ran at San Diego Comic-Con, which I covered. Okay. And nobody, you know what I mean? I mean, nobody would hear about anything else all weekend but Lost. And it's like, and then it came on and took over the world.
Well, that's kind of like how I felt about Black Panther, really. It took over the world, but I really didn't see anything different about it.
It was just a Marvel movie? I haven't seen it yet.
It's like every other superhero movie. There's nothing different about it. It's the same stuff. It was not super wonderful in terms of storytelling. I felt that they could have had a little bit more Black Panther action. Like, we just saw him die, lose his powers, get his powers back. Some guy comes.
Every superhero movie does that, but yeah.
But the thing is,
I want more fighting.
Yes, I
want 2 hours of fighting.
Like, you didn't see him do anything. You saw one car chase, and he's in the back of a car.
Yeah, he's not even driving, I heard. Yeah.
I'm like, what is this bullshit? So I even posted it on Facebook. I was like, I watched Black Panther today. I want my money back.
And how many haters did you get?
Oh my God, you're racist. I can't believe this. I was like, no, really, I wanted to see more Black Panther. Where do you see racist of this?
Yeah.
It seems like the go-to.
Whatever. Yeah, and then they made it all about the Oscars, and now it's about blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you know what? This is becoming a thing that's like turning people's minds around to what the talent is doing. Like, stop putting the emphasis on color, sex, gender, or whatever sexual orientation or whatever, because the more emphasis you put on that, the more people are going to look at it.
Interesting.
Stop talking about it. Just make a freaking movie.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Thank you.
Let me tell you how I really feel.
She just wanted someone to hit the Black Panther.
Right.
And him to hit them back.
Yes, I want them to have a fight, and I want them to do superhero stuff that we can't do in real life. That's the whole point of watching them.
Yeah, CG, 30-foot leaps.
Right. Yes.
You land into the ground punching your fist.
Bingo. I mean, the city they lived in was really cool, and all the little stuff was cool. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, but I mean, I was like, okay, but that was like too much of the movie for me. I was like, I don't need to spend all my time in a lab looking at this stuff. Like, take me out and do stuff.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just want to see another man-eating dinosaur movie. We never get enough of those.
Jurassic World's coming again. I'm so excited. I love the Jurassics.
I love it when dinosaurs eat those horrible humans.
Right? Yeah.
Especially those bratty kids, man.
Yeah,
that really
it makes me really happy, too.
And those horrible parents. Eat them up!
Right? And they made Blue a protagonist in this one. Yes, he's actually the one raptor that stays alive. And
you're right. I forgot. All the others died. He helps.
He was the one that took off with the T-Rex.
I was like, dude. That was my favorite movie. And my favorite scene in any movie that year is when the T-Rex and the Velociraptor look at each other like, we got this.
Right? Yes. I love it. That was a great idea on the girl's part, though. Let's get T-Rex to get rid of this guy.
Although I thought it was an absolute happy horse-s that she in high heels would release a T-Rex and outrun it. Give me a break.
You know what?
She's a redhead, no less.
Right. And then she hid behind a rock.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. There's a redhead in a bright yellow dress and high heels hiding behind a rock, and the dinosaur doesn't see
I
it.
see some fireball behind the
right? But I thought it was great, and all the raptors going after it, and then 3 of them get killed, and I was like, "Oh, Blue made it, thank God!" And I'm like,
here's my favorite dinosaur.
Yes, he's totally cool.
My nephew, my 6-year-old nephew, was telling me all 5 of their names. He was mentioning Blue and Echo and all that.
I don't even know their other names.
Oh, trust me, he knew all their names. Hey, but we're in 2 minutes to break.
Okay.
So plug yourself, baby. Tell us where people can follow your adventures of the lovely Carol Underground.
Yes. I'm very adventurous.
This is where you tell people what sites you want to plug or.
Oh, that's right. So I'm all right. So on Facebook, I am Caroline DeGrave Official. That's my public page. So CAROLINE, and then I spell my last name because no one gets it right. DEGRAAVE.
Oh, okay. French spelling. How pretentious.
It's actually Belgian spelling.
Really?
It's not even French.
Yes,
The AE thing
I
is
put
not
it right
French.
here.
The land of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
There it is on. There's her IMDb page right there.
And then,
You can see how it's spelt.
Right? Cool. Instagram is the @symbol Caroline_DeGrave, all lowercase. And let's see. I am on Twitter as Enaloric. It's my name spelled backwards.
Oh, look at you, pretentious one.
Enaloric_Eve. The last 3 letters of my last name.
Nice.
So I don't know where I came up with that. I think Caroline with DeGrave was taken, right?
It'll make it harder to creep on your Facebook page, but our listeners will try.
Right? Let's see. And then, IMDb, you can go there. But mostly the Facebook is where I usually post a lot of what's going on. And then I tried recently getting on
Facebook grandma?
Right. No, I tried getting on Vero. The Vero app, the new one that just came out very recently. So I just got on that one. So I'm starting it. But literally, I think I have 13 followers on there because I started a week ago.
All right, guys, we're getting down to just about a few seconds.
Okay, thank you.
Tomorrow's show.
No Friday show this week.
Tomorrow's show we have
Stuntman.
He's the special effects guy that blows things up. Physical effects, bullet holes.
Fart Man.
Why don't you put the camera on her at least?
Chris Bailey tomorrow. Special effects man.
Thanks for listening.
Special
On behalf of
effects
Jeff,
man. Cool.
Dan the Man Rupp, the lovely Caroline, and myself.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Caroline.
right, this is
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank you.
We've got plenty coming up today. Some punk rock, Black Lung Show, Mauve Talk Cocktail Hour, couple more punk shows. Radio you will not find
get the energy?
on your radio. It's only on no, just 3 W's. .chaoticradio.com.
Right.
Wow, hey, Caroline, you were amazing. Thank you so much.
That was so much fun.
No,
Thank you.
the pleasure was ours. I mean, wow. You are delightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was so much fun. I loved it.
Wow, well, thank
Yeah,
you.
we can just keep chatting away, right?
No, of course. We're going to grab a couple shots with you if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.